Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Michigan Prep Frenzy podcast. I'm Braden at MI Game Day.
And I'm Tyler from Michigan Prep Frenzy.
Today, we are going to jump right in to the second round of the playoffs, recapping that first round of games and looking at our round two matchups.
Yeah, no, this was a really exciting week. Pre-districts were, it's hit and miss. There's some blowouts in there, but there's also some really good games thanks to our wonderful seeding system. So, yeah, no, let's jump right into it.
Right. Well, we can get started here on Division 1 and get right into Region 1, District 1. We had Hudsonville taking on Jenison, taking them down 47-7, and Rockford similarly taking down Granville 42-7. This sets up a very exciting rematch between the two, and both teams clearly dominant victories. Granville just kind of a ghost of what they were to start the season. Jenison, one of those teams that they make it into the playoffs off of a strong schedule, but if you look at their wins and losses, nothing super impressive or threatening, and we kind of see it in that matchup. That leaves us with, again, the rematch between Hudsonville and Rockford. This matchup from week 6 is what landed Hudsonville on the number 1 spot in SportsCenter's top 10 and it gave them the win late in the game against Rockford.
Yeah, no, I think this is a really fun matchup again. Rockford has kind of been looked at as down all year, but they've still find themselves winning playoff games in you know the playoffs. So this is going to be a interesting matchup between two teams that are very, very familiar with each other and kind of, fun narrative. I mean, Hudsonville, if they win, they kind of are following up their, state finals appearance last year. And if Rockford wins, they kind of cement themselves as like, we're not down, we're right here still. So yeah, no, definitely potential, bragging rights and more there.
Yeah. You and I were talking behind the scenes a little bit about some fun new projects I have going on with my metrics and putting together some simulations of the games. And running this one, I found that Rockford was winning this matchup about 54% of the time. Kind of surprising, just considering how hot Hudsonville has been all year. No losses, and uh, really outside of that Rockford and Granville game, they were all very dominant. They had that first week against Byron Center, but still,
Yeah.
everything else they're winning by double digits at least.
Yeah, that is surprising. What do you think makes that happen?
I think that it really comes down to Rockford's quality of competition outside of the conference. Obviously, Hudsonville playing some good teams here in Byron Center, East Lansing, and Caledonia. But if you look at Rockford, they played Saline, Muskegon, and Grand Haven. These are all teams that my numbers really like. And even with the loss to Saline, Saline's defense is so good and offense is so good that it basically sees this as Rockford held Saline pretty competitively on defense and put up more points than Saline normally gives up on offense. So
Yeah.
didn't come out as a win, but it was still a really solid performance. It sees the same thing in Hudsonville. Part of what strengthens Rockford's record is the fact that they got to play Hudsonville and put up a really good showing. And Hudsonville, won that game. They definitely get more of a boost there, but Rockford just putting a lot of teams away. And I think another key difference here was the Granville game. This 42-7 win is just going to make them look a lot better than the 28-25 win, especially with how Granville kind of ended the season.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That makes for some fun coming up here in the next couple rounds.
Yeah. Moving on to our next game in Region 1. That would be District 2's matchup between Howell and East Kentwood.
Yeah. This one kind of a standalone game in D1 and on Saturday. Yeah, fun matchup between, really interesting styles. Howell obviously loves to run the ball, loves to play physical, dominant. East Kentwood spreads you out, kind of out athletes you. So yeah, definitely a fun one there. Howell kind of did their thing against Kalamazoo Central. East Kentwood got to kind of, stretch their legs a little bit against Grand Ledge, who's put together a solid season. But yeah, no, definitely that's really interesting, kind of style clash. So I'm curious to see how that one goes.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it to a game on Friday this week, but do plan to go at least catch the first half of Howell and East Kentwood. Um,
And I'm on the other
Unfortunately,
side of it. I'm going to be able to make it to a game on Friday and can't make it to one Saturday. So there you
yeah,
go.
we are figuring it out. Busy season,
Yeah, absolutely.
but like you said, this is a really good style matchup in the very exciting and um, pretty tricky uh, run game that Howell has versus just the air it out and uh, throw it all over you from East Kentwood, and mix that in with the surprisingly strong running game that we've been seeing from Cade Kaufman there.
I mean, that's not to say that Howell can't stop it because we've seen them play against some really good teams that are able to kind of sling it around. I think about, teams like Belleville and Brighton, two teams that obviously like to get out and run a little bit, and they were able to match them score for score all game long. So, yeah, not something that they're, too unfamiliar with, but it's a lot easier to say it than do it.
Yeah, and this is another one that a little surprised at how my numbers are favoring East Kentwood here. They've got them as a 62% chance to win this one. Um, I think this really just comes down to, uh, honestly, my numbers love the OK Red, and any teams that are coming from over there just have a very strong resume. Um, that's not to say Howell's not good. Howell is clearly an elite team, but if you look at the quality of competition outside of a few key games, you're not quite getting that same gauntlet that you see on the other side.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense actually.
Moving on to our next one in Region 2, we have Detroit Catholic Central taking on Brighton. DCC took down Heartland 35-7, and Brighton took down West Bloomfield 25-7 in what is a little bit of an upset with the 3 seed taking down the 2 seed.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised, maybe not that Brighton was able to win, but more just how they did it. Um, this is a team that definitely is used to scoring in bunches. And so is West Bloomfield. They've been solid offensively. So yeah, no, definitely a good win for them. And Brighton, they've got a ton of, young talent there. So this is great getting them extra practices, getting them extra, reps in game against elite competition. So they got their work cut out for them against Detroit Catholic Central, but good for them on a huge win there.
Yeah. Moving on to our next one, we've got Clarkston taking on Grand Blanc. And this is one that, again, going back to my metrics, I was shocked. They currently have Clarkston as an 88% chance to win this game, and overall, giving Clarkston a 40% chance to win the state championship in Division One. Which, yes, they're my favorite as well. They're the team that I picked in my bracket, but 40% chance to win it seemed very high. But
Yeah.
for some reason, my numbers absolutely adore Clarkston.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. They've got some really good wins. And I mean, looking at it not just on paper, but you think to just how good they've been for the last couple of years. The Bowman brothers have been everything that they've been cracked up to be. Obviously, fair state commits.
Mhm.
Alex Washenko, junior quarterback that's just been absolutely putting up numbers. Brings a little bit of everything to the offense with his feet and with his arms. So, yeah, not really surprising that they're maybe one of the favorites to win it, but it is shocking that it's by that margin. And but on the other side, this is going to be a one of the biggest tests for them in these playoffs with Grand Blanc. This is a team that will not shy away from matching them score for score. and they actually play some really good defense. It'll be tough to slow down that kind of offense. I mean, there's just so many things that can hurt you. But if anyone kind of can match them, that's a team that can do it.
Yeah, we heard from Morrow after their win against Davison that they had only punted 3 times on the year, and that was through week 8. This is a team that doesn't really know how to quit on offense, and like you said, a very stout defense as well. They're going to give Clarkston everything they can. I know my numbers obviously favor Clarkston heavily here, but I think this is going to be one of the best games that we see, and not just in round 2, but potentially in the entire Division 1 bracket.
Yeah, no, hard to disagree with that.
And moving on, we have Saline taking down Salem 43-13. Brownstown Woodhaven taking down Belleville 30-29 in what was a pretty surprising upset for a lot of people. This is one that I had selected Woodhaven here, but looking through uh, the Pick'em League, saw that quite a few people had taken Belleville and just kind of assumed that they would roll here.
Yeah, no, it was a wild ending. There was missed extra points and then a blocked extra point, I think, and a kind of late last minute touchdown drive. Um, yeah, Belleville probably should have sent this one to overtime, and I believe their extra point was blocked, and that's how it ended. So yeah, pretty crazy way for it all to go down. But Woodhaven, we've talked about them all year. This was a team that we knew if they got into the dance, they would bother someone. And sure enough, Belleville going out in the first round, pretty wild upset, but great for them. And now they match up against Saline with nothing really to lose.
Yeah, this Woodhaven team has come through the season. They didn't face the stiffest competition early on, but they took care of business in every game. They lost their first one against Gibraltar Carlson back in week 7, and we touched on that, they lost against a team that was sitting a little bit higher in the rankings to them in a very close battle. So there wasn't anything, too unsettling about that. The big concern was when they lost to Taylor, but clearly seemed to be more of a look ahead situation for them. And they came back, bounced back against Belleville, and hopefully they can give us a good game against Saline. But with how well this Saline team has been playing all season, I'm not the most confident in that.
I know. And this my bracket, if you're if you watched this last episode, we were able to fill out our brackets. This was the first game that I missed. I missed 2 in Division 1, and this was one of the 2. So very unfortunate for me.
Yeah, can't believe you don't know ball. I only missed 1 game. Not sure what's so hard about it.
I know. I drove myself nuts picking them.
Next, we have Detroit Cast Tech taking down Northville 46-3. Then Dearborn Fordson taking down Farmington 34-14. This is giving us a matchup between the two. Dearborn Fordson coming in at 8-2, Cast Tech cruising in at 10-0, and this is what is most favored as a blowout for Division 1 for my numbers. They give Detroit Cast Tech here a 94% chance to win this game, and they give them actually the second highest odds to win Division 1 overall with a 20% shot.
Yeah, no, this is a team that I mean has it all right now. They are probably the most talented team overall, top to bottom. They had Big Sean at their freaking practice last night. So I mean, at this point, I don't know how you stop a team like this. So unfortunately, I think Fordson's going to be a casualty, and um, not to look too far ahead, but I think a Cast Tech and Saline regional final next round would be a ton of fun.
Yeah, looking at, again, maybe looking a little too far ahead, but potential DCC versus Clarkston or Grand Blanc, and then a Saline versus Cast Tech. Couple of really good potential matchups there, assuming we don't get any major upsets.
No, no. Hopefully we can get those. I would love a slugfest between powers like that.
Yeah. Moving on to Region 4, we've got Rochester Adams taking on Rochester Hills Stony Creek. Adams taking down Rochester 35 to 10. Then Rochester Hills Stony Creek taking down Utica Eisenhower 35-31. This right here was a pretty good showing by Ike, but clearly 5-5, just not a great season for them, especially by their standards. But it's over now. Focus on coming back, rebuilding next year. And Rochester Hills Stony Creek just continuing to have a really solid season. They dropped a few games against Harper Woods, Adams, and Groves, and really hard to hang your head too much with that because all very solid teams. And now they're getting a chance to get some revenge on Adams in what was only a 6-point game last time.
Yeah, this is a team that just doesn't go away. Like all season long, we've seen them, take these really close losses to really good teams. Like they bother some people. So, yeah, definitely not a spot where Adams can look ahead and start planning their regional final trip. They've got a big one still this week.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our last game in round 2 of Division 1. That's going to be Romeo taking on Macomb, Dakota. Romeo beat out Sterling Heights Stevenson in a close one, 14-13. And on the other side, Macomb, Dakota taking down Utica in a shootout, 6-3.
Yeah, now this neither one of those scores really surprised me. We've kind of seen these teams trend in that direction, these low scoring, duke it out kind of games. So, um, yeah, that no real surprise there. And this game actually turned into a little bit of a shootout when they played a few weeks ago. This game was won by Romeo 39-20. So maybe we'll see some points again, but I would predict that this one's probably even lower scoring. Um, Still like Romeo. I still think that they're just a little bit better rounded team. They can score a little bit easier maybe than Dakota. But Dakota relies on their elite defense, and that's what they've done all season. So it's worked up to this point for the most part. We'll see if they can make the right adjustments and get back in the win column.
Yeah, shootout by Dakota standards for sure. One of only 2 games they had this season where they got over 20 points in the game. Should be a good one. Like you said, I also think we're going to be seeing a lower scoring game here, but Romeo just a more balanced team, more complete on both sides of the ball. I think that they win this in similar fashion to last time. Going to win comfortably, but not going to be a blowout by any means.
Agreed. Yeah, my D1 bracket, I've still got all of my regional finalists still alive, so it's not over for me yet.
Yeah, you and I both took Utica in that one, thinking
We
that
did.
Macomb Dakota's offense just wasn't going to be able to do enough for them. And turns out you don't need to do a whole lot when you can hold the other team to 3 points.
We were right and we were still wrong, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Division 2. We've got Muskegon taking on Traverse City Central. Muskegon taking down rival Mona Shores 39-34 in their rematch, and Traverse
Battle.
City Central taking down rival Traverse City West 15-13 in their rematch.
Yeah, that Mona Shores Muskegon game was the absolute battle. So, um, fun way to kind of get into the playoffs with a huge rivalry game like that. One that obviously means a ton to both of those schools, and same with TC West and TCC. So, yeah, I think that that was kind of a nice way to kick this off in this region. Um, but man, I really like Muskegon right now. They are playing much better than I had anticipated after the first couple weeks of the season. This is a team that can be dangerous. They're not to look ahead, but there's a chance that they see Portage Central and could be a tough matchup, but I think they're a tough matchup too.
Yeah, and Traverse City Central coming in, taking down Traverse City West after losing to them just the week before, 22-21. This is always a fun matchup with both of these teams playing at home at Throby Field. Um, Seeing them, play in a quote unquote away game there, but stands get loaded for both teams because everyone is right there in town, and always just a fun matchup. But boy, never fun to lose that first game of the playoffs, especially to your arch rival. Gotta hurt and sting a little bit for West and for Mona Shores, but both of these teams putting together quality seasons. Fully expect to see them back here next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, what you said about them both having kind of a neutral site for a home game. Midland Dow kind of have that same thing as the Midland Community Field, which I will talk about in a minute. I got to see firsthand again. I've been there once a few years ago, but yeah, really cool venue. It is cool when you see it the stands fill up on both sides like that.
Before we get there, I'm going to jump into District 2 of Region 1, where we have Portage Central, who took down Lansing Everett 67-19. Byron Center took down Portage Northern 47-6. Byron Center doubling up, getting Portage after Portage, and Central coming in looking to just continue their reign of dominance.
Yeah, almost 70 points in a playoff game is just rude. So, and yeah, Byron Center with a huge statement win. We've kind of written them off as dead, and here they are, winning playoff games in dominating fashion. 47-6 is a monster win for them. So, yeah, sets up a really good one. And this is kind of what we talked about. We talked about it on an episode pretty early on. I said it feels
Mhm.
like Portage Central is what Byron Center was last year. So we'll see if comes to fruition if Byron Center passes the torch or if they can buck the trend and get by them and get to the regional finals again.
Yeah, this team, like you said, playing like the Byron Center of last year, and Byron Center coming in a little bit more experienced, especially with this high level playoff uh, caliber game. And Byron Center, a team you and I had really talked in depth about early on in the season on whether they should press the panic button. They started out 1-3, and you and I were both just about ready to write them off after losing 17-46 to Muskegon. We thought, yeah, that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, and we're going to see this team, struggle throughout the season. And nope, they managed to go and rip off 6 straight and
Yeah.
winning some pretty dominant games, especially that Portage Northern game last week, 47-6, hitting their stride at the exact right time. Gonna be a fun one. I like Portage Central here just because they're so dominant on both sides of the ball. I'm not necessarily certain Byron Center can hold them below 50, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to score to keep up with this electric Portage Central offense.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. You nailed it, though. I mean, with Byron Center, I think it took a few weeks for them to figure out who they were going to be without Landon Tungate. I mean, he
Yeah.
was all world everything for him last year, was really the thing that made him go. So I think life after him was difficult for the first few weeks, figuring out exactly what their identity was going to be. But once they figured it out, they turned into a really good team. So, yeah, I mean, I think they have their work cut out for them against Portage Central. I still think they might be the best team in this division. But I mean, this is a team that has seen it all before, has been there, done that. So, yeah, very good chance that they are able to at least give them a battle.
Yeah. Moving on to Region 2, why don't you walk us through what happened with Midland Dow taking on Waterford Mott?
Yeah, man. Just quarterback Win Deagle is the truth, man. This dude is nails. I mean, just gunslinger, leader. Like they started right out. I believe it was their first or second play from scrimmage, fumbled. Mott ended up getting it, went right down the field, short field, and scored. And he literally just rallied the team and was like, "Nope, this isn't how this night's gonna go." And just from there, they just put on a show. Like he hit every receiver on the team for multiple multiple catches. They ran the ball well. Their offensive line is really, really good. Their defense was solid. I mean, they were dealing with Geno Seats, who played a phenomenal game, was everywhere. He played quarterback. He ended up playing some wide receiver. He was, probably their best defensive player. Like, legitimately was all over. So they were trying to contend with him, and it just didn't matter. Dow just completely dominated the Corsairs up front, physically, just overwhelmed them. So yeah, that's a team that's going to be a problem. I think they pretty much sleepwalk through East Lansing. Unfortunately, great job by them to in a down year where they sneak into the playoffs, get a win against Lakeland. But I think it all comes crashing down this weekend. Unfortunately.
Yeah, as you said, kudos to East Lansing. They're a team I had completely written off after they were at 1.1-5. They managed to come in and win 4 of their last 6 and managed to just barely get themselves into the playoffs here. And yeah, once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. And they showed it with a really solid win. But I agree, their season ends here. I'm not sure they have the talent on either side of the ball to really compete with Dow.
Yeah, no, and again, we can look a little ahead. Midland Dow probably going to be sitting there waiting on the winner of Orchard Lake St. Mary's and Brother Rice, a game that was very competitive just a few weeks ago. So, and those are two of the most talented teams in the state. As far as, I mean, if you want to talk about college prospects, those two teams by themselves could field a college football team. So, yeah, going to be a big challenge for them, but they've shown that they're gamers and they're up for the challenge.
Yeah, moving right into that game, like you said, Orchard Lake St. Mary's taking on Brother Rice. Brother Rice upsetting Walled Lake Western 28-24, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's technically upsetting North Farmington, but uh, really, I'm not sure anyone was expecting anything different. Like you said, these two teams here, about as talented as it gets in the state, both of them just loaded with college talent. And this Brother Rice team, you and I have been talking about them all season. We said early on that Michigan high school football is better when they're here and a major player in the game. And we really mean that. And it's fun to see them here in what we both think is probably a year or two early, and really bodes well for them as their very young roster continues to age up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is two really, really talented teams. And I think that it's going to probably be pretty bitter. I don't think St. Mary's was expecting to lose to Brother Rice. I'm going to guess that they feel some type of way about that. And I think Brother Rice is going to want to kind of back up what they did just a couple weeks ago. So, yeah, I think this one's going to be highly competitive, probably going to turn a little nasty. Two teams in the Catholic League that are very familiar with each other. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see what this one looks like.
Yeah, this is one I'm hoping is competitive, but there is a part of me that's a little bit scared to see the wrath of Orchard Lake St. Mary's coming into this one. They're not a team that loses often, and I don't think that they want to lose to the same team twice this season. I'm expecting them to come in here and play is about as tough and physical a game as we've seen out of anybody this season. And like you said, other side, Brother Rice has to back this up, but they're a team that really feels like they're playing with house money right now. So young, so talented, but really, uh, I don't think there's anyone around who's looking at them saying, yeah, they're probably going to win the state championship this year. Next couple of years, yeah, definitely a contender, but right now, just get all the experience you can. And if you can manage to get a couple of upsets and fight your way, who knows what happens.
Yeah, no, I think that the potential is there for a run, but man, getting by St. Mary's is going to be really, really tough.
Moving into Region 3, we have South Lyon taking on Dexter. South Lyon taking down South Lyon East last week, and Dexter handling Livonia Franklin.
Yeah, these are two really, really good teams. These were two, obviously, your numbers kind of light, especially Dexter. I mean, just as elite of an offense as there is. With South Lyon, not too unfamiliar with scoring. So yeah, I think this one could probably be a break the scoreboard type of game. But I expect Dexter's, just a little bit better talent there. I think that they're gonna be the difference makers there. So I think they win this, but I think South Lyon is a really fun team. It'll just be a big challenge to take down Dexter.
Yeah, this Region 3 right now is kind of a toss up by my numbers. They currently have South Lyon, Dexter, and Gibraltar Carlson all right around the same level, having them at 16.09, 16.46, and 16.84. Teams that are all just within a few points of each other on the field. That who's to say what's going to happen here? Very competitive region. And obviously, don't want to count out Temperance Bedford. And speaking of, we'll jump right into that game. Them taking down Allen Park 42-14. And on the other side, the aforementioned Gibraltar Carlson taking down Lincoln Park 48-8.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Bedford. I did not expect them to just go out and whack them like that. So, yeah, really good job by them. So, I still think that this week is where it all comes crashing down because I think Carlson is that good.
I'm with you. We saw a few times this season that Bedford really good at handling teams that they're supposed to handle, but as soon as they come up against one of the established big boys in the league, like a Celine, Tech, Dexter, they start to struggle really on both sides of the ball, and kind of a team that when it rains it pours. Once they start sliding in a game, it all kind of goes downhill. Would not be surprised at all to see Gibraltar Carlson just take this and run away with it.
Agreed. And I'm very upset at Bedford because this was the first game I got wrong in or in this division as well. I got two wrong in this one too, and they are one of them. So
Moving on to Region 4 now. We've got Groves taking on Warren Cousino, and Cousino taking down Seaholm, and Groves taking down Mott the previous week.
yeah, no, I am impressed with this Groves team. They've fought through quite a bit of adversity. I don't think they had the greatest season by their standards. Obviously, lost to, Oxford. Kind of got dominated by Harper Woods. Lost to West Bloomfield, but they've gone on a little bit of a run since then and are kind of playing their best ball at the right time in a competitive region. But I don't think it's a gauntlet region by any means. So, kind of sets up well for them to make a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, and other side, I believe this was a game that one of the early ones I got wrong on my side of the bracket. I had Seaholm here.
I did too.
I was kind of hoping to see a rematch in what was a close game between them and Groves in Week 9, but no, they really just got trounced in this one, and I think it sets us up for a really good game in round 2.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Groves kind of playing their best ball at the right time, and obviously Grosse Point South barely takes down Roseville, who kind of fought back. So, looking ahead, there's a very good chance we get a Grosse Point South game. I think that one would be a really, really fun one.
Yeah, and Grosse Point South, like you said, taking down this Roseville team who seemed to be having a bit of a down year, but I think that they definitely played better than their record, losing in pretty tough matchups with Romeo, West Bloomfield, Utica, and Grosse Point South, as well as that opening loss to Davison. And then, Grosse Point South coming in, getting that second win of the season on Roseville, and cruising in with the 9-1 record. The St. Clair Shores Lakeview team, really good at 8-2, but I feel like Grosse Pointe South is just on kind of that next tier up. Lakeview managed to get that upset in week 7, and I think that Grosse Pointe South comes in here pretty hungry for some vengeance.
Yeah, I agree. I expected that game to be a blowout the first time, and the fact that they were able to nip them there was impressive. But it may backfire this week. It may end up being a running clock type situation if they can help it. So yeah, like I said, it kind of sets up a very good chance for there to be a Grosse Pointe South matchup in the next round, which I think would be a blast.
Moving to Division 3, starting out with Mount Pleasant taking on Gaylord, a battle of two surprise unbeatens. Gaylord 10-0, Mount Pleasant 10-0, and both teams having just really great bounce back seasons.
Yeah, this is gonna be my game of the week this week. This will be the
Yeah.
game that I'm at. Um, it's not too crazy far from me. And for what it is, two unbeaten teams, um, two unbeaten teams that we probably didn't really see coming. I thought both of these teams would be solid. I did not expect either one of these teams to be 10-0, ready to be 11-0, and ready to head to the regional finals. So, yeah, should be a really fun one in Mount Pleasant. I'm excited. Um, and I would suspect I put Mount Pleasant as the slight favorite, at least in my mind. Um, but I think Gaylord's defense is really, really good, and I expect that to be kind of a problem for Mount Pleasant. But I think Mount Pleasant can score.
Yeah. My biggest concern here is just looking at some of the games Gaylord has played and just comparing them. Mount Pleasant's a better team than Marquette. They're better than St. John's, better than Escanaba, better than Petoskey, better than Marquette again. I think that this is just going to be a game that Gaylord has not really had the preparation for. And on the other side, Mount Pleasant has played a couple of really, really good teams, especially with Midland Dow and then Traverse City Central and Traverse City West. They've been tested and they've shown in those games that they can score with the best of them. And if their defense does start to give out as it did against Dow, their offense can bail them out with no issues.
Yeah, no, I mean, you look back through it, they gave up 14, 12, 0, 8, 17, 14, 13, 0, 13. If you take out that Dow game. Like, that's really good defensive performances. So yeah, really excited to see what they can do. Um I think Gaylord will give them a battle, but yeah, I think I like Mount Pleasant in this one just a tad bit more.
Right. Next in District 2, we've got Coopersville taking on East Grand Rapids. East Grand Rapids taking down Cedar Springs 23-21. And Coopersville coming in and just annihilating Kennewa Hills in a pretty big upset considering they had already lost to them once this year, taking them down 42-7.
Yeah, that completely stunned me. Came out of nowhere. I mean, this is Coopersville's been they've been fine.
Hmm.
Like I said, they came in at just fine. But man, it's one of those things. I kind of had said it before. You just didn't know what you were going to get out of Kennewatt Hills from week to week, and this was definitely one of those where they showed their inexperience a little bit. They're still a really young team, still building. So I'm not insanely surprised, but definitely surprised that Coopersville came out and just walked all over them. So, uh, lots to build on with your Kanawha Hills, but great for Coopersville. And now, world's your oyster. You got East Grand Rapids. It's a good team, but beatable. So, yeah, there is a slight chance we see a 4 seed make a little bit of a run here.
Yeah, would not be surprised to see Coopersville pull this one off. I think this is going to be one of the more competitive games in round 2. I think both of these teams, despite Coopersville being at 500, if you look, they lost their first 3 games and then managed to take down Sparta, Greenville, Allendale. They lost that close one to Kenowa Hills, but obviously came back and showed that they can handle them just fine. They lost
Yep.
that one to Cedar Springs, which we almost got a rematch here, but East Grand Rapids showing that, yeah, they're about on the level of Cedar Springs, and Coopersville, really good shot. What I would call just a coin flip game, and they could be taking on one of the unbeatens from Region 1.
Yeah, no, definitely not something that I expected. If you'd have told me that they won that game by that amount of score, I would be pretty not inclined to believe you.
Okay, we have in Region 2, Niles taking on Zeeland West, and they fell in that one 21-30. And St. Joseph taking down Zeeland East 20-6, giving us a Zeeland West versus St. Joseph matchup in round 2. And this is one that I felt pretty solid following this one. I took Zeeland West in the upset in my bracket, and unfortunately for you, you had Niles making it pretty far, did he not?
I had them in the state finals, so
Boy, I
ultra tough scene.
can't imagine what it's like not knowing ball. But
Man, what a
you,
tough, tough scene, man. I They had me, man. A hook, line, and sinker. I was a Niles believer, dude. They moved up a division, and everything, in you should be like that. Should be a red flag. But man, they just went out and had an incredible regular season. I
mhm.
mean, completely unbeaten, and beat down some really good teams. And then just, I don't know if it was just not being able to handle the T or what it is, but man, what a tough, tough loss for them. So, and now that is not what St. Joseph wanted to see, because this is probably the scariest 4 seed that you could have dreamed of. So, yeah, I wouldn't be stunned to see them move on from this one either.
Yeah, St. Joseph, they've definitely got a fighting chance here, but not a team I would be super thrilled to match up with, especially only having that 1 week notice. You don't have them on your schedule all season, and you're preparing for that offense that they run in West. I'm not sure what it is about them. They had me completely bought in despite their 3 losses in the regular season.
Yeah.
And I'd gone back and looked, and seemed like every year they were dropping between 1 and 3 games, and then they would just come into the playoffs, and uh, seemed like teams, only having that 1 week to prepare, 1 week to get set for their very tricky, is it the wing tee there that they run?
It's like a wing tee, straight tee kind of. Yeah, but they can pass out of it, but they
It's a
obviously run a lot
fun
of
offense to
deception.
watch.
It's a blast to watch, especially when it's, executed perfectly. Like, we watched them in the state finals, and they were throwing on King and they were running all over him. Like, nobody had any idea who had the ball. And the King coach, even after in this press conference, was like, that is an impossible offense to stop when it's run right, because there's just, you can only cover so many things. It's literally
Mhm.
11 on 11. Like, it is very, very hard. So, yeah, there's probably something to that, that you get in the playoffs, and some of these teams that haven't seen it or don't see it much, maybe they struggle with it a little bit. But yeah, just Zealand West keeps doing what they do. They win in the postseason, and I should have never doubted them. But man, it's tough, tough for my Niles.
Moving to the next district here, we've got Lowell taking down Coldwater 49-14, and Middleville Thornapple Kellogg taking down Hastings 28-20, giving us a Lowell versus Kellogg matchup here. And this is one that I actually had Hastings taking this one, but not super surprised to see Lowell handle this Coldwater team. Coldwater, they're solid, but there wasn't a whole lot on their resume that made me think that, yeah, they were going to make a deep run here. And other side, I'll admit, I did not expect Kellogg to win that game. I thought that we were going to see a repeat of their game or their season opener loss to Hastings, and no, instead they came in and took care of business. And now this team's going to be playing with a lot of confidence against this Lowell squad. I still lean Lowell here, but I feel like they're going to be tested, I would say, by this Kellogg team.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel the same way. Like I want to just lean Lowell, but man, Kellogg, they had some interesting results. Like obviously they, lost to Hastings early, but that's a really, really good team that they only lost to by a few. So close one there. Obviously they almost beat Grand Rapids Catholic Central, lose 10 nothing. And then they ended up beating Grand Rapids Northview. So it was a team that you don't really know what you're going to get. They kind of had a mixed bag because obviously they followed that up with getting blown out by East Grand Rapids. So it's hard to get a read on them. So I would lean Lowell maybe just because maybe there's a little more consistency there. But two, yeah, definitely two teams that could be hot or cold.
Yeah, Lowell feel like we know what we're going to get out of them a little bit more, but yeah, this uh, Kellogg team showing that they can play with anybody. They also just might lose to anybody.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough to judge.
Moving to Region 3, this is going to be a quick one. We had DeWitt taking down Owasso 70-13 in a game that was truly over by the end of the first quarter. DeWitt just took this game over and made sure there was no question about it. Linden, on the other side, upsetting Mason in a 35-28 matchup. Linden coming in at 7-3 with their losses against Flushing, Fenton, and Chelsea. All respectable losses, and outside of that Flushing game, they were all very close losses. And some of their big wins being, Mason. And then really beyond that, not a ton of super impressive wins, but more the way that they've been playing and been winning. Most of their games winning by 20 plus points. They're a solid team, and unfortunately, they play DeWitt, who is the best, probably the best offense in the state, and uh, in my opinion, probably the best team that we're going to see in D3.
Yeah. No, it's hard to argue. I mean, yeah, this game, I tweeted out the score because I think it was 30 seconds in. They were up like 21 nothing. Like they had like
Mhm.
a score, pick six, scored like back to back to back. And I had like a bunch of people replying to my score update, like first quarter question mark. Like people thought it was a typo. And
Mhm.
it did look like one, like 30 seconds into this game, and it was over. Like it was unreal. So yeah, that's a statement win if I've ever seen one. Um, running running clock in a team and still being able to put up 70, probably with their JV in, is just unfair. So yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
that
I
is.
think Linden is going to meet kind of the same fate. I don't think it's going to be as bad, but I definitely don't think it's going to be pretty. And I think DeWitt will just continue to do what they do.
Yeah, this is a game that I saw the score on Twitter and saw that it was, I think that they had 35 points at the end of the first quarter. And I thought, oh, maybe I'm misreading something because that's a, that's a lot of points. And I flipped the game on and flipped it on just in time to hear the announcer say, and here's DeWitt with another pick six to get 42 on the board. And yep, there was about 11 and a half minutes left to play in the second quarter still.
Oh,
And yeah, that's just not what you want to hear. Um,
no.
uh, Honestly, I feel bad for Owasso saying this, but my gut reaction was just, guys, stop throwing it.
Yeah.
it
Yeah. I
just
know.
just run the ball, run the game out, because boy, that's just not fun for anybody.
I know. You fight that battle of like, do we just keep throwing it? Because it's clearly the only way we're going to get back in this game. But also, it's the only reason that you're just getting absolutely dominated. So, yeah, you fight that battle, but that's the kind of situation that DeWitt football puts you in. Like that is one of those teams that puts you in that box where you have to throw it, and if they know that you're throwing it, good luck.
Yeah. Only two teams in the state this season that they didn't running clock, and that was Mason and Haslett. And being their first two games of the year, feel
Yeah,
like that's not the same team. They're probably going to steamroll at least the next couple of games,
I think so.
where um, assuming they take down Linden, they'd be facing either Adrian or Fenton. Adrian taking down Ypsilanti Lincoln 35-14, and Fenton taking down Holly 48-6.
Yeah, this is a quietly phenomenal 9-1 season for Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Not a team we're used to seeing put up, 8, 9 wins in a season. So, yeah, huge for them. Their only loss is a 29-12 loss to Chelsea. Pretty excusable, but other than that, they've kind of just waxed everyone. Um, Fenton, on the other hand, had a really good season, 7-3. Most notably, probably their best win is their loss to Goodrich, 21-20, where they, very much so had a chance in that one. But if you remember, that was the lightning delay on like a Saturday and had to be delayed till Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of a goofy situation there, but yeah, really good season for them. This will be kind of an interesting battle. I think Fenton's more battle tested, but I think Adrian maybe has the more impressive results. Just obviously just running through a lot of the teams that they played. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see which one prevails.
Yeah, should be a good one. I think that's going to be a pretty solid matchup between the two. And whoever wins gets the honor of being the sacrifice to DeWitt.
Yeah, yeah, fun trophy to win.
Moving to the next one, we've got another team that looks like they're probably going to continue rolling, and that's Detroit MLK. They took down Riverview 36-6. Other side, we had Trenton taking down Redford Thurston 42-22. Trenton coming in at 6-4. Really solid season for them. They've got a couple of good wins here in taking down really just by margin. Edsel Ford 63-0, handling Taylor and Southgate Anderson. Then really kind of their only major win being over Lincoln Park up until they played Thurston, and beating Thurston by 20. Definitely a solid win, but boy, MLK, just a different type of team.
Yeah, no, I think that one probably over pretty quick. I think King probably makes that one pretty light work. So, yeah, looking way ahead. We could have a DeWitt versus King game. I think that one would be an absolute blast.
Yeah. All right, moving to District 2 of Region 4, we have Warren Fitzgerald falling to De La Salle 34-56, and then Port Huron taking down Marysville 24-14. De La Salle, technically a 4 seed, upsetting the 1 seed, but this is a De La Salle team that, despite coming into this game at 3-6, was still just absurdly talented. And if you look back through their schedule, so many of their losses are to D1 and D2 teams that, looking at like their game against Brother Rice, they held in there with them. They played Davison tight. Few of them got away, but when you're playing a team the quality of Orchard Lake St. Mary's or DCC, frankly, not super surprising to see that happen. Definitely not what they want to see, but they're showing that, when they're playing some teams that are more their own size, they can hold their own just fine.
Yeah, no, this has been a really tumultuous season for them. Obviously, by their standards, this is a team that's pretty used to cleaning out a lot of people. So this is still a very threatening team. I still would put, obviously, if they make it past this one and they end up with King, I still put King as a pretty heavy favorite in that one. But yeah, definitely not the team that's just completely cooked like everyone thought they would be.
Not at all. Should be a good matchup here against Port Huron. And either way, whoever wins will likely have a really really tough game in round 3 against Detroit MLK. Never say never. Trenton's a good squad, and really either of these teams good enough to at the very least hang with MLK, but obviously MLK the favorite to be coming out of Region 4.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, moving on to Division 4, and boy, we have already been going at this for 55 minutes, so we are going to have to speed run these last few divisions.
Yeah. Uh, just want to touch on, obviously, the big game in this one was Ludington Big Rapids. Um, just wild game. It came right down to it. I hate that these two teams had to play this early, but huge win for Big Rapids in that one. And they'll get an Escanaba team that was able to do a really good job and end up beating Freeland. Played really solid defense. I was able to watch some of that game on NFHS, and yeah, pretty wild.
Yeah, this one killed my bracket. This
Yeah,
is what really did me in, but with how good so many teams are in D4, I'm not counting myself out of here yet, but yeah, between this and me once again falling for the Paw Paw Bear trap, just
yeah,
sitting here looking at them thinking, man, but they had a really good season this year. I think they could do it. And once again, seeing that, yeah, when they get into the playoffs, and then competition stiffens up,
yep.
not always the same.
No, no, absolutely not. Hudsonville Unity Christian, obviously, they get in a little bit of a shootout with Holland Christian, but end up
Yeah.
taking care of business. And Godwin Heights, a team that, by all accounts, was supposed to, kind of go on a run here. Spring Lake ends up with a kind of a massive upset here, and they'll get their shot at Unity Christian.
Yeah. Looking at Battle Creek, Harper Creek, they fell to Grand Rapids Christian. Another one that certainly did not help my bracket any. And then Portland taking down Grand Rapids South Christian in another shootout, which frankly kind of surprised me because Portland, one of the best defenses in the state, they'd only allowed over 10 points once this season, and that was against Lansing Sexton. And then they come in and have to battle it out in a 42-41 game. Not what I expected, but good to see that they can win in these high scoring and closely contested matchups.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. Um, yeah, the next game to me makes absolutely no sense. Paw was able to beat Three Rivers just a few weeks ago, 43-0. They fall in this one 21-14. It makes no sense to me. I also fell for this trap and I'm quite disappointed.
I feel like they always get me. The last few years, it's taking them and they come in with one loss seasons or undefeated seasons, and it's just not the same when they get into the playoffs. And I don't know what it is. Um, Jeremy, I'm sincerely sorry. They got me too.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
They
tough.
yeah.
Really
But
tough.
like you said, they won this game 43-0 2 weeks ago. Not sure how it could have changed that much other than, I don't know, curses, black magic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I have no idea. So now Three Rivers, I guess, has a shot at making a run. I mean, they
yeah.
lost to Vicksburg by 4 just to, in the middle of the season. So if you overcome a 43-point deficit to a team, I guess you can overcome 4. So, I mean, your guess is as good as mine at this point with this team.
Yeah, I had Paw Paw taking on Edwardsburg, so man, I don't know.
I at least had Vicksburg, so I'll take that. But yeah, of like the first 8 games, I got like 3 right. So pretty tough run for me.
Yeah. Division 4 is brutal as you and I had expected it to be.
Yeah,
Looking
it was
at Region 3, we have a really fun rematch between Williamston and Haslett. Haslett, the only team really outside of Hastings to give Williamston any sort of fight this season. Game you and I got to go to, and great environment there in Haslett. This time playing at Williamston, gonna be a fun one. Very curious to see if Williamston can carry on with their kind of miracle season, and whether or not Haslett can avenge that loss.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be easy. We kind of had boots on the ground and were able to see this one firsthand. Williamston just has so many ways they can hurt you. They're really good defensively. They came in with a phenomenal game plan to stop a mockery and just stop that run game as a whole. Um, so yeah, I expect Haslett to probably make some adjustments to this game. But either way, it is going to be a tall task with this Williamston team.
Yeah, not a team I would really like to play twice in a season, but this Haslett team, their two losses are DeWitt and Williamston, and being a team that could hold DeWitt to only 21 points, clearly very good defense here. And same thing with Williamston, holding them to 20, even in those losses, showing proof of concept that they can play with anybody. Uh, they'll have a shot in this one, but I would not be totally surprised to see Williamston try to make this one a little ugly.
No, I agree 100%. Um, next next district is really fun. Battle of phenomenal coaches. Obviously, Coach Allward at Goodrich has had this program rolling. And obviously, Coach Dean at Chelsea has really started to build something there. So, yeah, great coaching matchup in this one. Two really good teams. And I am really curious to see how this one turns out. I think Goodrich is probably your favorite in this one. Um, but I think Chelsea's not going to be a pushover by any means.
No, I'm completely with you. I think Chelsea is going to give them a good fight. I definitely think Goodrich wins this one in the end, but as you said, great coaching matchup. Can never really count Coach Dean out in, especially in the postseason. Seeing what they can do here, they took down that Fowlerville team that you and I got to go and watch earlier this year against St. John's. Very solid team there, quality team, and putting up 42 on what seemed to be a pretty stout defense. Not bad. Chelsea's one loss coming to Dexter in a 28-42 matchup.
Yeah.
They're they're about as good a competition as Goodrich is gonna get here in
Yeah.
D4, at least until they have to take on the likes of either Williamston or, should they make it around further, probably Divine Child or Harper Woods.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And obviously, Divine Child able to kind of take care of business against Tecumseh. And obviously, they're going to get a Lamphere team that didn't exactly light up the scoreboard against Redford Union, kind of a 7-6 rock fight in that one. So I expect Divine Child to continue to kind of do what they do. That offense is as potent as they come.
Yeah, Divine Child held under 30 points twice this season. And on the other side, Lamphere only getting over 30 points once this season. Definitely going to be a one that Lamphere wants to ugly up and just make it into a rock fight on the ground. If they can do that, they can make it competitive, but I'm certainly not going to expect that against this high flying Divine Child offense.
No, and obviously this is starting to set it up. Chandler Park with a good win over Centerline, but obviously Harper Woods does what they do against Macomb Luther North. And if Harper Woods can win this and Divine Child get through what they should, yeah, that sets up an unreal game. Divine Child and Harper Woods.
Yeah, I mean, hate to get ahead of ourselves, but looking at these potential round three matchups and even round four, where you could have really either Williamston or Haslett taking on either Goodrich or Chelsea, and then likely a Divine Child and Harper Woods, and then looking up here, seeing I would expect Hudsonville Unity Christian and either taking on this what would be a 10-1 Escanaba team or this Big Rapids team that, like we said, little disappointed that they had to play Ludington so early, and really also kind of disappointing to see them have to go up against competition like Escanaba, considering how good of a season they're having. But Big Rapids could continue their march, give us a good matchup there.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a ton of great, interesting potential matchups in that one. As we kind of talked about, kind of from the get go with D4, we kind of predicted that this was kind of what was coming, and I'm glad that it's playing out exactly how we thought it would.
Moving to Division 5, we've got Ogma Heights taking on Kingsford in round 2, Saginaw Swan Valley taking on Whitehall, Grand Rapids Catholic Central taking on Grand Rapids West Catholic, Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep taking on Berrien Springs, Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard taking on Michigan Center, Romulus Summit Academy North taking on Monroe Jefferson, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep taking on Detroit Denby, and Frankenmuth taking on Richmond. So, starting with Region 1, Ogama Heights, Kingsford. Kingsford taking down Gladwin, Ogama Heights taking down Negaunee. Ogama Heights getting into more of a close battle with the 6 and 3 Negaunee team than I was expecting, especially as my favorite to win Division 5, but they got
Yeah.
through. Win is a win. Other side, Kingsford handling Gladwin pretty capably, looking like a pretty scary matchup for Oklahoma Heights here if they can't get over whatever it was that seemed to be slowing them down last week.
Yeah, no, I think this is a really good team. Yeah, playing against a Kingsford team that obviously has plenty of experience in the playoffs as well. Yeah, I really like this matchup, and it feels like more of a toss up now than it did a week ago.
Yeah. Swan Valley taking on Whitehall. Nothing too crazy here. Swan Valley taking down 4 seed Clare in their district. Whitehall taking down Howard City Tri County in their side, and giving us a fun matchup here. I expect this one here to be another pretty competitive game. Neither of these teams are necessarily jumping out to me as a huge favorite over the other. Obviously, Swan Valley being the 1 seed, probably who you would expect to win here. But I, this Whitehall team is solid. They've got some pretty uh, pretty good wins here.
Yeah.
Specifically looking back at that Zeeland West and taking down Manistee, Montague, and their losses. When you look at them, Portland, Ludington, and Unity Christian, nothing wrong with those losses. Not
No, I
what
agree.
you want to see, but those are really good teams. This Whitehall team is a little bit better than that 6-4 record. I think they're going to give Swan Valley a good fight, but I'm going to take Swan Valley in that one.
Yeah, no, it's hard to pick against them right now. They've played an unbelievable season. Yeah, but Whitehall obviously really good resume for themselves. So that was a game that was up there for me. I heavily considered making my way to.
Yeah, moving to the next one, we've got another game that you were considering, and that was Grand Rapids Catholic Central taking on Grand Rapids West Catholic. Always a fun game when these two teams meet up, and both of these teams just taking care of business without issue in their first round games.
Yeah, these are two teams that are very familiar with each other and familiar with each other in the postseason as well. So, yeah, not surprising to see them meet up again. This was kind of what we expected out of them. So, should be a good one. I think GRCC is probably your favorite, but again, you just never know with these two teams. And poor Kalamazoo United or Berrien Springs, who will be awaiting the winner of this one. So, sacrificial lambs, unfortunately.
Yeah, winner of the Catholic Central versus West Catholic game, really probably going to be your favorite to, at the very least, make it to Ford Field. Unfortunately, just not going to get that same level of competition from Kalamazoo, Hackett, Berrien Springs, or really Ogama Heights, Kingsford, Swan Valley, or Whitehall. You might see that same level of competition down here when we get to some of these teams, but yeah, I'm not sure that anybody in their half of the bracket is going to stop them on their march to Ford Field.
No, I don't think so. One of the few teams I think has a shot at making a deep run here, Ann Arbor Fowler Gabriel Richard.
Hmm.
They get Michigan Center, but I still put them as a massive favorite in this one. They should be able to take care of business there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Michigan Center, very quietly dominant season, 9-1, and looking really good through the whole thing. But yeah, I think that this FGR team is just kind of a different level of animal.
Yes.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to hang with them. And moving into the other game in this region, that's going to be Summit Academy North taking on Monroe Jefferson. Monroe Jefferson, we've chatted about here and there. They have just a really great season going on. A team that bouncing back from was it a 1-8 season last year?
Yeah, I believe it was 1-8 or something like that. Just
Yeah.
and they have only
Hey, look
had
at
like
that. 1 and
a
8.
couple winning seasons. So, yeah, pretty insane like program win kind of deal right now with them. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, great job by them, and they've got a chance. I don't see why they can't beat Summit. So, very good chance that we see them advance again. So, yeah, impressive season by them.
And moving to the next region, we have Pontiac Notre Dame Prep taking on Detroit Denby. Not a whole lot to unpack here. Notre Dame Prep taking down Hazel Park 59-0. Denby taking down Detroit Southeastern 18-16, and fully expecting Notre Dame Prep to roll here. They are not the same team that you and I saw when they played Lumen Christi earlier this season. They had that, and then the loss to Gibraltar Carlson, and then just rattled off win after win from there, taking on some really good competition, including Waterford Mott, St. Francis, Marine City, Unity Christian, and now taking down, another playoff team in Hazel Park 59-0.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say this. I feel bad for Denby. Feels like they're just going to be a bit of a warm up before they take on, presumably, Frankenmuth in next week's game.
Yeah, which would be a rematch of the D5 state title from last
Mm-hmm.
season, which Notre Dame came away with the win. So I would assume that Frankenmuth's going to be hungry to get a win there. Notre Dame Prep obviously going to be prepared. They know what's coming. They're really well coached. So yeah, could be setting up for a really really fun matchup there. And great job by Frankenmuth again, just handling business, and Richmond continuing to have just their unbelievable season kind of out of nowhere. I definitely didn't see this coming. Handling an Armada team pretty well with a 14-10 win there. Um, yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming. I picked Armada to, bounce back and win this one. But yeah, Richmond keeps rolling.
That they do, but not sure it's going to matter a whole lot against this Frankenmuth squad. And like you said, I'm expecting a rematch here in round 3 of last year's state finals. And Frankenmuth going to be hungry for some revenge from that game. Notre Dame Prep looking for a repeat. I think that's going to be a game to keep an eye out for should both teams win.
Absolutely.
D6. We have in Region 1, Kingsley taking on Traverse City St. Francis. St. Francis taking on Boyne City 55-35. Kingsley taking down Calumet 41-14. This one right here, really, really good matchup on paper. But boy, my numbers love this Kingsley team. They've got them as the favorite in any game, best rated team, even above the presumed champions in Lumen Christi. Um,
Wow.
they're yeah, a very, very good team, and one of the more balanced teams in my ratings.
I mean, it makes sense when you go through their schedule. I mean, this is a team that beat Reed City, lost by a touchdown to undefeated Gaylord, D3 team, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, beat down Boyne City, lost by 1 to St. Francis earlier in the season, and then just
Yeah.
kind of rattled off dominant win after dominant win. So, I mean, your numbers are seeing it right, probably there. This is a team that won a state title a couple years ago quietly. So, yeah, this could be a team to watch out for in this division again.
Yeah, but like you said, they've got that loss against St. Francis, who they're matching up with here. Uh, we always say tough to beat the same team twice, but this is going to be a good one. Clearly, both teams were on the same playing field back in week 5. Interesting to see how both teams have changed and grown since then. Uh, I like Kingsley in this one, but boy, my numbers, they've got St. Francis as the 4th highest rated team in D6, so certainly not going to be a blowout by any means.
No, no, not by any means. So, yeah, good job by them. And the winner of that one will be waiting. The winner of Reed City and Montague. Uh, Reed City kind of doing what they do, hanging 63 just like they do. And then obviously Montague coming away with a big win, going to Central Mont Common, coming away with the win. So, good job by both of those teams. But man, again, feels like Reed City's just on a different playing field right now. So we'll see
Mhm.
what happens.
Yeah, great win for Montague. It just, again, one of these where it's different level of team. Reed City is in that first group of teams that you look at in the division where, yeah, they've got full state championship aspirations, and I'm not sure they're going to let Montague get in the way of that.
No, absolutely not.
Moving on to Belding, taking on Kent City. Belding 9-1, Kent City 10-0. Despite that, Kent City was the 3 seed to Olivet. They took them down 28-22. Belding taking down Ovid Elsie 28-14. I got both of these games wrong in my bracket, so I'm going to leave this preview to you.
That's funny you say that because I got both of these right, so I'll take it. It must hurt to not know ball. So, yeah, no, I think Belding really, really solid team. They've been really good for the last few years, but just have gotten some terrible draws in the playoffs over the last few years. But yeah, drawing over at LC, finally able to get by them. Obviously, Olivet put together a fine season, but I thought Kent City was probably the better team here, and they kind of proved me right. So, um, going to Belding, definitely a tough place to play. Obviously, it's a pretty historic place, so it'll be really cool to kind of see that one game that I thought about actually going to. So I'm excited to see this one play out. I think both of these teams, if you told them that they were going to win a district title at the beginning of the season, I think they would take it.
Yeah, both of these teams have to be happy with where they're at. Kent City, they're a fun story to follow, 10-0. Looking forward to seeing what they can do coming into this one. I personally like them over Belding, but as you stated, I don't know ball, so who knows?
Not you.
Not me. Next, we've got Montrose taking on Durand. This is one that I'm I'm not expecting a super close game here. This Montrose team is an absolute beast. Durand, solid, but uh, looking through my numbers and just looking back at their games, Durand 8-2, solid, but just none of the wins really jumping out. And on the other side, Montrose 10-0, and yeah, they've got the 45-0 win over Durand. Now, we saw in Pawpaw's case that being a team by more than 40 earlier in the season doesn't mean anything when you get into the playoffs, but
Apparently not.
I have a feeling that we're going to see a little bit more of that type of game from Montrose here.
Yeah, it's a great call by our buddy Aaron over Flint Prep fan. He kind of called this. He said Montrose is going to win the D6 state title and upset everyone. And man, he's looking like a genius right now. They're just playing a different level of football right now. Um, Getting by Lumen Christie when it finally all, the dust settles and then it's just those two teams left, if that's what happens. Not going to be easy by any means, but yeah, he's looking like a genius right now. This Montrose team just looks different.
Yeah. My numbers in pretty firm agreement with him. They've got Montrose as the 3rd rated team in D6, and it's really Kingsley, Lumen Christie, and Montrose all in the top 3, and then everybody else kind of at the tier below them. So certainly think it's a good pick, and would not be surprised to see them cruise into Ford Field for that matchup with, as you said, Lumen Christie.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Lumen Christie, they did what they do. They beat the hell out of Onstead. Um, took out their starters early, just absolutely waxed them. On the other side, Napoleon got a pretty solid win against Buchanan. Not
Mhm.
what I had. It's a really good team, so good for them. But unfortunately, playing Lumen Christie, I don't think that it matters.
Yeah, good win for Napoleon, but unfortunately, you're coming up against the team that is the really the perennial favorite for D6. Um, Not a whole lot they're going to be able to do here. And moving into our next game in Region 3, that's going to be Ecourse taking on Ida. And yeah, I'm not sure either of these teams, whoever wins here, is going to be able to do a whole lot against the Titans either. And really, both teams just playing for a chance to, as we've said before, be a sacrifice to one of these favorites.
Yeah, yeah, you earn one more week with your brothers. That's great. You get one more chance to go out there and strap it up. But unfortunately, man, Lumen Christie just looks like that team. Uh, yeah, I don't know how I don't know how either one of those teams can beat them right now. But good for them making it this far. Same with Detroit Edison and Warren Michigan Collegiate, two teams that are really solid as well. That I'm sure if you told are playing, at the beginning of the season, you told them they're playing for a district title, I'm sure they'd both be thrilled by that.
Yeah, couple of solid teams, but this game here, uh, repeat from week 2 for these guys, where Warren Michigan Collegiate had taken down Edison 24-0. I get a sneaking suspicion here, though, that this is not going to be that same type of game. I think we're going to get a much closer matchup in this one, and I actually think Edison's going to come back and get some revenge in this.
I like it. Call your shot now.
Yeah, moving to the next district, we've got Almont taking on Marine City. Almont, they are just cruising through this season. They're 10-0 and just handling everybody with pretty relative ease. Their uh, biggest challenge that they've really faced all season was a couple weeks back when they faced the Detroit Edison team we just mentioned, and taking on Marine City here for a potential rematch with them.
Yeah, basically since 2021, the just Almont continues to just pull off 8, 9, 10 plus win seasons. Like this is just
Mm-hmm.
becoming an annual tradition now. And Marine City playing ball at the right time, man. They're playing really good. Um, yeah, I think this is a really interesting matchup. It feels like a toss up to me, um, but obviously anything can happen. But it feels like this one's really close.
Yeah, this one, pretty fun matchup. Marine City, always a solid squad. They've got good resume. I think that they're going to give Almont all they can handle, but like you said, this Almont team just they seem to do it every year, and I don't think this year is going to be any different. I think that they're going to march here into a rematch with Detroit Edison. In I'm going to call my shot, like you said. I think it's going to give us the best game out of round 3.
Yeah, I like that. I would not be stunned by that at all. I think that's two really good competitive teams. I think they're fairly familiar with each other. So, yeah, should be an interesting one.
D7, we've got Menominee taking on McBain. McBain managing to come in and take down Charlevoix, and Menominee taking down Manton 48-17. Even though this Menominee team is 10-0, I'm not sure. It's one of those teams where you look and it's all other UP squads, and McBain, they're pretty well established down here.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out how those two basically feels like you're watching two different leagues just come in and meet, and always hard to tell how they're going to match up.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, just looking at it, I think Menominee's a semifinal team, and I don't know how good they are. Like, obviously, they're going to end up playing the winner of Harrison and Shelby, and neither one of those teams particularly, shock me as a team that's going to beat them. So, I mean, I think they're going to end up probably just kind of waltzing to the semifinals, surprisingly. But yeah, no, I don't particularly love them either. But obviously, it just kind of someone's got to do it at this point.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, this Harrison team, pretty stout. They managed to take down the mighty Sharks of St. Louis. So,
Of course,
no slouches over there.
of
But
course.
uh, Shelby coming in 6-4, 20-2 win. Always love seeing a 2 on the scoreboard. Nice to see a team just get that score in there with the safety. And if I recall correctly, this was one that they got that safety early and never sniffed the scoreboard after that.
No, no, absolutely not. And unfortunately, I don't think it matters for any of these teams because they are in the side of the bracket with Palama Westphalia, who just beat
Yeah.
down Ravenna as expected. And then North Muskegon put together a really good season. Actually, after losing to PW early in the season, first week. So, rematch here. This one ended up 35-6 PW the first time. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, I think we're probably looking at the same thing because they just keep on rolling.
Yeah, PW is kind of on their own separate tier in this league. Um, there was one team I had rated to, uh, come in and compete with them kind of on that level, but we'll get to them later. Moving on to Ithaca, they're taking on Elkton, Pigeon Bay, Port Laker.
Yes.
Ithaca coming in after avenging their loss to Saginaw Valley Lutheran. Fortunately, SVL's big miracle season finally winning the TVC.
Yeah.
TVC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough, man. You kind of get over that emotional hurdle. And that all comes crashing down to the team that, kind of gave you your biggest win. It also ends up giving you your biggest loss. You were a 1 seed in a district. They were a 4 seed and you end up losing. So uh heartbreak hotel for them, but it kind of is the nature of the playoffs. That's it. We've said it a billion times. People are gonna get sick of it. It's hard to beat a team twice in high school football. It
Yep.
just is. So yeah, good
Especially
for
a team
them.
like Ithaca.
Yeah, yeah. No, this is a pretty resilient team, well coached team that's very experienced in the playoffs. Great, you got them in the regular season, but when the playoffs roll around, Ithaca just they know how to do it. So, yeah, great win for them, and I think Laker will be a fun challenge for them. We'll see how that one ends up.
Yeah. Moving to Region 3, we've got Schoolcraft taking on Lawton. Schoolcraft coming in off of a win against Galesburg Augusta. Lawton coming in off of a win against Constantine.
Yeah, these are two teams that have been very familiar with moving through the playoffs as well. Two teams that have won quite a few playoff games recently. So, yeah, Schoolcraft had a really good season. Um, Obviously, they've kind of rolled through quite a few good teams. Their losses being to Unity Christian and Kalamazoo United, to not bad losses at all. So, good for them there. And obviously, Lawton has done what they do. They're probably even, at 8-2, maybe even a little bit disappointed. They got crushed by Ithaca, and they ended up losing this game earlier in the season, 18-14. So could avenge their loss. We just said it a minute ago. Hard to beat a team twice, especially into the playoffs like this. So yeah, I expect a close one in this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lawton come in and just try and steal this game back. See it happen all the time. Lawton squad, very good. Only losses being to Schoolcraft and Ithaca. Like you said, Schoolcraft, uh, definitely a really great squad in their own right. But I think that in this one being such a tightly contested game last time, we're going to see Lawton come back and get the rebound win in here.
I like it.
Hanover Horton taking on Bronson. Hanover Horton beating Union City 44-6. Bronson beating Jonesville 52-12. Now taking each other on. Hanover Horton coming in at 8-2. Bronson coming in at 8-2. And this, I think, is looking like it's going to be a good one. But boy, I like this Hanover Horton team. I'm a little bit worried for Bronson at this point.
Yeah, back to back 8-2 seasons for Hanover Horton. So great job by them. This is not a team that we expected by any means. I think the year before that they won like 2 games. So yeah, definitely not a team that we expected to make these kinds of runs, but they are having a really impressive season so far. So yeah, Bronson had a good season, but man, I really love this Hanover Horton team right now.
Yeah, they're definitely a team to keep an eye on, but unfortunately, they're going to be taking on the winner of Region 4 should they make it that far. And I'm not sure any of these squads are going to really struggle with any of the teams from Region 3. We've got Monroe St. Mary Catholic Central taking on Clinton. And then in District 2 of Region 4, we've got Millington taking on Rochester Hills Lutheran Northwest. All of these pretty good squads. We've obviously seen what Monroe St. Mary's can do. Clinton, another really good squad that they actually started out their season with a 6-42 loss to St. Mary's. And this one here, I would have said that Clinton probably not going to stand much of a chance. But Ottawa Lake Whiteford was my second highest rated team in D7, and Clinton handled them with pretty relative ease, 36-20. I
Yeah,
think
that
that they
result
give
stunned me.
Monroe. Yeah, well, that result killed your bracket too.
It did. That was a team I had in the state finals playing against PW. So yeah, really really tough for me. Um, but this one kind of starts to set up a rematch of the D7 state finals last year. The next round could be Monroe
Yeah.
St. Mary Catholic Central and Millington. Like St. Mary Catholic Central, I think they're probably the better team this time around. So I think there's a chance that they avenge that state finals loss. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I predict that's probably what we're going to see in the next round.
Yeah, call your shot. I'm with you right there. I like this Millington squad. I think that they're going to handle Lutheran Northwest without too much issue. And I think Clinton's going to give St. Mary's all they can handle. But end of the day, this St. Mary's Catholic Central team is very, very good. And I think that they're hungry for a rematch with Millington in a game that they're probably feeling like the better team, as you said.
Yeah, and it also should be noted that Millington winning 49-0 was in one half. Burton Bendel forfeited at halftime. So um, just just a heads up there that is only one half of the game, 49-0 before Burton Bendel literally called it quits. So um, yeah, just dominant performance by Millington, literally kicking a team into submission, basically.
Yeah, always a rough scene to end your playoff run like that, but makes sense. At that point, you're not winning the game and you just want to avoid anybody getting hurt and get your team back home before it's too late.
Yeah, no, against the defending D7 state champions, it's an ultra tough scene.
Moving into our final division, we've got Bark River Harris taking on Iron Mountain in what is their third matchup of the season.
These teams cannot
With
get away from each other.
they cannot. This is the first time I've seen it, at least in the last few years, of two teams matching up 3 times, at the very least, doing so this early in the playoffs. Uh, Bark River Harris coming away with the win in the first matchup, 30-22, and coming away with the win in the second matchup with even better margin of 38-14. But if it's hard to beat the same team twice, I mean, it's got to be really hard to beat them 3 times, right?
Or maybe it goes the opposite direction. If you beat them twice, maybe you're a shoe-in to beat them the third
Double
time. I guess I
negative.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I guess we haven't really tested this theory, but we're about to find out, I do believe. So, yeah, interesting that all four UP teams kind of, stuck in a district together kind of makes for some interesting ball. So, yeah, good for these two teams to make the playoffs and get a third crack at each other. I don't know if Iron Mountain is excited for this or not looking forward to this. I'm not really sure how to feel about it, but this is a Bark River Harris team that, despite getting their butts kicked by PW, we saw some bright spots with their team. So, yeah, definitely still a team that you could see win a couple more games here before it's all said and done.
Yeah. I'm going to say I like Bark River Harris in this game. Like you said, I think it's a double negative, probably. I don't know. PEMDAS.
Yeah.
Give me Bark River
Yeah.
Harris.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. And the winner of that will be awaiting Maple City, Glen Lake, or East Jordan, two teams that had really dominant round one games. So, yeah, it'd
Mhm.
be interesting to see these two teams, match up. Obviously, this is a game that happened earlier in the season. Glen Lake got them 24-22, but super, super close game. So, yeah, very good chance that we see that one be really close again.
Yeah. This is one that I think we're going to get a pretty good game here. I like Maple City Glen Lake just a little bit more in this one, but yeah, I'm not going to be super shocked either way. I think the winner probably gets a solid matchup against either Iron Mountain, Bark River Harris, but never say never against these UP teams. Always fun to watch them try to make a run. Little disheartening sometimes to see when they all get stuck in that same district because you only see one of them come out. But it does mean that we're seeing the best of them at the very least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that that's kind of the benefit. I mean, I know we harp on the playoff system, but it is kind of fun to see which one of those kind of battles it out and earns the right to come down to the lower peninsula to kind of battle against some of our best teams down here. So, yeah, I think that it will be probably, I mean, I think Maple City Glen Lake is probably the best in that region, but obviously it's kind of close right now.
Mm, yeah. Up next, we have Beale City taking on Saginaw New Fell Catholic Central. I am going to say that Beale City, coming off of a just dominant win against Sacred Heart, 49-7, but I'm not sure if Beale City scored in the second half.
I don't think so.
They were, yeah, they were just taking it to Sacred Heart and then basically ran the clock out. Nouvelle, on the other hand, taking on Michigan Lutheran Seminary, beating them 34-28. And as fun as this Nouvelle team is, they obviously had a pretty solid season, 8-2, some good wins here and there, but Beale City is just a machine. I'm not sure how they keep doing it. We talked on it when we went to their game at Ithaca that this team is also super young, only 2 seniors on the squad. They're going to be good, and it feels like they're going to be good for years to come. I'm not sure that Nouvelle is going to be able to do much other than just be a little bit of a road bump on their way to a matchup against presumably Harbor Beach.
Yeah, no, and I think that that game could be legitimately the game of the week, regardless of division, if they meet up. This is kind of a clash of the titans if they can end up getting to each other because Beale City and Harbor Beach both have obviously really good programs year in and year out. But this feels like their best teams. Like I feel like both of these teams are peaking as far as programs go. So, yeah, would love to see those two teams clash. I got to see Harbor Beach against Ottawa Lake Whiteford earlier in the season, and they just impressed me from start to finish. So, yeah, if we can get that game, there is no doubt that it will be on my radar and maybe one I want to go catch.
Yeah. Looking at Division 8 in my ratings, I've got Harbor Beach as pretty clear number one, but the only two teams even close to them are Hudson and Beale City. Right now, Harbor Beach the favorite, but if anybody is going to give them a challenge in this half of the bracket, it's going to be Beale City.
Yeah, no, I think that those are kind of three teams, under a blanket. I think they're all kind of one, two, three really close to each other. And I think it's a pretty massive drop off from that point. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really looking forward to seeing if that game to comes to fruition. I would love to watch that game. Obviously, like you mentioned on the other side, Hudson, obviously they did what they do against Centerville. Then White Pigeon
Mm-hmm.
able to kind of pull off a little bit of an upset with Decatur. So, uh, good win by them. White Pigeon kind of been on this like winning their district streak. Unfortunately, Hudson back down from D7 back down to D8, so that kind of crashes the party for them, sadly. And yeah, I just think Hudson just better team, better equipped to go on a deep playoff run here.
Yeah, this Hudson team 10-0, and I mean, when you're seeing a high school team win a game 86-8, you just you just have nothing to do but hang your head and march to your death against them. Really, it's probably not going to be a good scene. Based on my ratings, White Pigeon is going to be their biggest challenge on this side of the bracket. Wouldn't be surprised to see them get a good fight should they make it to the semifinals against potentially Gabriel Richard or an Allen Park Cabrini. But I get pretty good feeling that we're going to see Hudson at Ford Field.
Yeah, it's hard to see much else right now. Another fun storyline: Springport just keeps winning, just quietly, 10-0, just doing what they should do against a lesser opponent in Manchester. They'll get a challenge this week against New Lothrop, who was able to take down Fowler. So, uh, not all great for them. It's still got some challenges left here over the next couple weeks. Obviously, if they win this, probably against Hudson, probably march to your death, as you said. But maybe they've got something for him. I don't know. They've surprised me all year, so maybe they keep doing it.
Yeah, Springport, a team that we've seen win super close games, that we've seen them win blowouts. We've seen them win in defensive battles, taking down Bronson 7-0. And then we've seen them, you know, like we saw against Manchester 47-8. They can win in just about any style of game. So who knows what happens when those guys match up, or if New Lothrop comes in, they manage to get another win and keep their season going. Uh, I had Fowler taking them down. I was really high on this Fowler squad and definitely did some damage to my bracket, but happy to see a squad like New Lothrop keep their season moving and get another shot to extend it once again.
Agreed. And Region 4, like you mentioned, just doesn't blow me away by any means. You've got Madison Heights Madison, Clarkson Everest Collegiate, Riverview Gabriel Richard, and Allen Park Cabrini. All solid teams in their own right, but unfortunately, I think it's Hudson head and shoulders above those teams.
Yeah, I think that Madison Heights Madison getting to take on Clarkson Everest Collegiate going to be a good game. Um, I Madison Heights coming in at 9-1. You don't want to discount them. Clarkson Everest Collegiate, they're 6-4, but tell you what, I've liked what I've seen out of them so far. I'm I'm not super confident on who comes out of this one. I'm gonna lean Madison Heights Madison just because they've had the more complete season with their lone loss coming to Marine City, who's playing up in D6, and Clarkson Everest Collegiate. They've got a few that they've dropped. against Cabrini, against Ubley, against Nouvelle. The early season losses never really worried me as much, but loss to Nouvelle just a couple weeks ago tells me, yeah, this is a team that has some weaknesses, and I think that Madison Heights manages to just take advantage of those. Other side, we've got Riverview Gabriel Richard, a team that we saw taking on Beale City in last year's state title, losing to them 14-43. They're back, fortunately, 5-5 this year, just not having the type of season that they wanted to. We saw them take on Clarkson Everest Collegiate and Ann Arbor, Father Gabriel Richard earlier this season, a couple teams we've been talking about quite a bit, and just get dominated in those games. And they've got a couple other losses against Macomb Lutheran North, Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood, and I just don't feel super confident. Other side, Allen Park Cabrini looked like a team with a lot of talent and a lot of size. Couldn't quite get it done against FGR, but I feel
That's a
like if
deep
they
five
come up
team, so.
against coming up against a team more to their own size, they're going to be able to take care of business just fine.
Yeah, no, I think they have a little bit of a run in them, but yeah, it just feels like you're all playing for second place in this side of the bracket. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see who kind of comes out of that region because I don't necessarily think all of them are great. So, yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see who kind of is able to rise above the rest.
Yeah, and this is always a tough call for me because I would love to see a team manage to come in and pull an upset and take down a favorite like Hudson. But on the other hand, when we get to Ford Field, I would love to see the best taking on the best. And I really think that's going to be Hudson taking on either Beale City or Harbor Beach. Last year, you and I went and we were treated to nothing but blowouts there. So I find myself this year just unfortunately rooting for the favorites. Um, Feels gross. Feels like I'm one of those Lakers slash Chiefs slash Duke fans, but
Yeah, yeah, no, it does.
it's what I have to do to be able to survive those 2 days at Ford Field.
I know, I know. It was, yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking last year with just 8 straight blowouts. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. So yeah, definitely just cheering on great football at Ford Field this year. I'm hoping we get some close ones. I hope they, kind of pay us back for all the blowouts we sat through last year.
Yep. Well, that is going to do it for us today. That's your recap and preview. Like Tyler said, he's going to be heading over to Gaylord and Mount Pleasant this week. I'm going to be trying to catch at least some of the game at Howell, try to see East Kentwood again, and see what this Highlanders offense is all about. And we will be back next week to recap round 2 and take a look at round 3.